So I have Illustrator popped open, and what I did was I actually just put a rectangle box and a piece of text. And you'll notice that I put this on separate layers because if you want each one of these to be a separate 3D object, it's always a good idea to put it on a separate layer, and then you can go in and play around with this or extrude this however you want if you want them to be separate. Now if you want it to be all together, feel free to put it all on one layer. But what we want to do is we want to bring this into Cinema 4D. So you can bring in logos that you've created, whatever you want, and we can make these 3D. So in order to do this, the first thing that I want to do is just draw a rectangular lasso around everything that I have here. So let's just make sure that we select every single thing here. And what you're going to do is you're going to go to type, and you have to create outlines. So let's go ahead and create outlines. Alright, so we've created outlines for this. That's the first step. And then the next thing is we need to save this file out. So let me go to File and choose Save. And we need to save this as an Illustrator, and we'll just say Illustrator. Alright, save this on the desktop. And what I want to do is let's just go in and save this. And it needs to be an Illustrator file, so save. Now up here is what needs to actually change. You can't save it as an Illustrator 220 file or any of these. So what we need to do in order for Cinema 4D to read this, we have to go all the way down to an Illustrator 8. So if I go on Illustrator 8, that's the one that I need. And then I can click OK. It says saving this document in older format. Okay. Alright. So you may just want to create you a copy for that, just in case you want to keep your original. And now let's go to Cinema, and let's go to File, and we'll just say, let's go in and say Open. And let's just find our Illustrator file and open that in. And we'll say Connect Splines. This is fine, the default. Okay. And look at what we got here. We now have our different pieces here. And look, it brought each letter in separately. So let me show you how to do that. So let's say that you want this one to be separate. We'll just call this, let's rename it. I'm gonna double click. I'll just call this rectangle, REC rec. And then you can type in the letters. So this is H, this is E, this is L, this is L, and this is O. Alright, so let's say you want this to be separate. So you can pull this out. Right now it's in a null layer, meaning that it's grouped. So you can pull these out of the null. So I'm just clicking and dragging this out. And you can do the same thing for these. So if I shift select, I can pull these out. I can delete these, delete that. So how, now that we have this cleaned up, how do we go in and make this 3D? Well, you probably guessed it. We can go in and use extrude. So if I click on extrude and I say, hey, I want my rectangle, let's just go ahead and push that up into the extrude. And you can see that that thing is massive. So we may want to end up lowering this a little bit to get this the way we want. But it's 3D. And then we can add another extrude and put our text in there. So let's go in and add an extrude here. And let's just shift select all of our text and just drag it up into this next extrude. Alright, now what you're noticing, you notice, well, one, it's really long, but that's fine. But 2, you'll see that only this one has worked. And why is that? So let's click on that extrude. And the reason is, let's also change the offset. Just get this a little bit smaller so it's not so big. So we'll just do something like 3. That's even too big too. That's probably good. But the E, the L, and the O are not on there. And the reason is that once you click on that extrude, you should see something that says hierarchical. Just make sure you select that. And boom, there it is. And it is there. So this is how you can pull in those graphics that you all, those wonderful graphics that you all make. This is how you can bring that stuff in and bring those logos or whatever you like into Cinema 4D.